The aims of today is how to help our clients with potential acne. So when it is and isn't our remit is obviously down to us to make that decision as well. But having a good understanding of acne and how it's caused, and recognizing times when, you know, sometimes it may be out of our remit is important. So the objectives of this are to refresh on the anatomy of skin. As always, we're going to be talking about skin just to start us off. So we're warming ourselves up to think about skin in terms of acne. We're also going to explore why acne occurs. So why is it happening? What's going on? Hopefully we already have an idea, maybe a vague idea, or may not have a clue. It doesn't matter. That's what we're here for this evening. So we're going to understand why acne potentially occurs. We're going to take a look at key acne ingredients and why I've brought them up this evening. So why I choose to look for those in some of the products that I utilise and use from Shop Beautiful and other places. We're going to identify home care and professional considerations as well. So that's important. So where do we come in? And where do we come in when we can actually open our doors again? And what can we preempt our clients for? That, you know, if they start on home care now, what treatments can we promise them when we can reopen? And what effects are they going to have? That's important for us to know and understand as well. Okay. I do have water this evening, nothing else. Nothing strong, I promise. Not at this time. Okay, so a little bit about me. So who are you and why are you telling me this? So I'm not here because I know everything, far from it. Okay, every day is a school day for me. My name is Annette Matthews. I have a skin clinic in Wirksworth, Derbyshire. My background is actually dentistry, but I'm a dental hygienist, dental therapist. But I opened my own skin clinic around about, well, had been about 4 or 5 years ago now, but my own clinic was about a year and a half ago, just before all this hit, basically. So I have an absolute profound, I'm a proper skin geek. I don't know if you guys are, that's why you're joining me at this time on a Tuesday evening, but I literally can't get enough of it. So I start a master's next month on skin aging and cosmetic medicine. I'm very excited about that as well. So I'm really, really pleased to be here to talk to you this evening about findings from my own clients. So, you know, I think that's important to recognise as well. I'm not just here from a brand to sell you some products. I'm here to talk you through what I've found has helped with my clients, what's helped with my own skin, you know, friends and family skin, and all of this, as opposed to just trying to sell products, which is sometimes a little bit of a bind, isn't it, when we listen to these webinars. Okay, so a little bit of my clinic there. No, that shouldn't have been on there. Anyway, okay, let's skip forward. So how the skin works, this is where we are going to start, okay? So we're going to start with thinking about anatomy of the skin. I always do this on my slides because it's so important. So how does the skin work? And when it functions properly, it's there for protection. It's there to sensitize. We have heat regulation. So when we're cold, we shiver. When we're hot, we sweat. There's control of evaporation. So we're making sure that we're not losing too much moisture in there as well. Storage and synthesis. So this part here, the live part of the dermis, is where we store what we need to actually function, amongst other things. We excrete. So if there's something in the skin that we don't want it to be and we can work its way out, then that's what our skin helps us do as well. So any toxins. We also use antioxidants that we find within the dermis to remove those toxins away, and we're going to come on to that a little bit more in detail, so don't panic. We also use the skin to absorb, so we're going to take products in, and that's a really important one for this in particular, because sometimes, and we'll see this when we go on to more acne in more detail in a moment, the reason that acne is occurring is primarily because of what's going on in the dermis here. So if we've got products that aren't absorbing properly, then we're not actually treating the root cause, which is down here in the dermis in this live part. It's making me go a bit dizzy to keep watching the skin go around. Water resistance, so that's important. So, you know, we're keeping moisture out and keeping the right amount of moisture in as well with that lipid barrier. And an important one at this moment in time is aesthetics and communication and being connected to our emotions. So we are all going through an absolute hellhole right now. And can you imagine, obviously adding on to that, the fact that you have skin concerns and that you're upset about your skin and that you're unhappy about things. It has a massive, massive impact on our clients. And the fact of the matter is, while we're sat at home, and we can't do professional treatments, we can still make a difference. And how we make that difference is with the implementation of home care, and we get them on board. And not just home care, hygiene, habits, lifestyle, there's lots of things to think about. We can really use this time to hone in and actually educate our clients how we can help them, how we can help our skin do all of that. So educate our client to the fact that our skin does all of that, and I'm going to help you keep it healthy, because only healthy skin will do all of that and all of that well. And if it isn't, then that's when we start to come across problems. Okay. So I want you to just take another look at the spinning skin. It's a little bit slower this time, so you can take a look a little bit better. So this live part here, this is the dermis, okay? You've got your epidermis with your dead skin cells at the top as well. So this is where the nutrients lies. This is where, as you can see, we've got our hair follicle. We've got our oily sebaceous glands that sit around here as well. And these are the ones that secrete this sebum and oil to the top of our skin. So we need that oil to actually protect our skin. Without it, the last slide with all the functions on there when it's functioning properly is irrelevant. So without the right amount of sebum and protection on the skin, it's going to start to affect the skin health. Okay. Granted, some people will overproduce sebum, but there's usually a reason because of that. So we need to get to the bottom of that as well. One of the main causative factors of acne is an overproduction in sebum and an accumulation of dead skin cells that sit on the surface here. So you should start to be already be aware anyway of skin rejuvenating, skin renewal procedures and treatments and home care that we think about, because we want to exfoliate away that dead skin. So we're getting away the trapped dead skin, the trapped sebum, and all the oil and everything that's underneath the skin. We're also regulating the sebum in the skin, and we're helping eliminate and basically get rid of the bacteria's food, which is going to be, more oil if we're producing more oil. So I visualize it this way, because when I want you to kind of have this spinning skin in your head as I'm talking through things and think, right, okay, I get it, because I'm a nightmare with static non-3D pictures. I can't quite get my head around it. So rightly or wrongly, I make the assumption that sometimes it is good to see it like this, and then you can think about things differently. Okay. So have this going around in your head for the next hour if you can. If I need to refer back to it, I do sometimes, and it is helpful. So I will do that. So top skin concerns. So you're all here because we want the acne workshop, which is great. But I just want to kind of get a gauge to the sort of, if you have a clinic, I mean, there might be clients on here. I don't know, who this has gone out to. It's always interesting to see. But if you have a clinic or a salon at the moment, tell me, what do you feel is a top skin concern that you get through your door, just so we can gauge an idea. There's other webinars and things that I've got planned, and I want to plan with these guys as well. And these are the sort of things I want you to just let me know, and let's have a little look at a gauge. So yeah, I thought that's why I'd put that in there, mixture. I'll just give you a few minutes to answer this. Okay. Yeah, it's pretty much a mixture, which is true. And you know what? Sometimes it actually depends where you are based demographically as well. Obviously, where I am, where my clinic is, it's in quite a small country village. So I see a lot of rosacea, dehydrated, dry skin. I've got friends who've got clinics and salons in city centres, and they see a lot of dehydrated skin. I've got a friend that's got a clinic near a school. She sees a lot of teen acne and things like that. So it is dependent on demographics, but I would agree with the one that, everyone that said the just end this and share it, mixture of all. I tend to see a mixture of all, but acne and pigmentation, they tend to go hand in hand though. You'd probably sit there and hopefully agree with me. They may have had previous acne, and then they have that post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, which we are going to talk about a little bit today, and that again will go hand in hand with skin tone. And as we know, those with acneic skin tend to be dehydrated, and sometimes even with rosacea we'll see that acne induced from the rosacea as well. Okay, so yeah, a bit of a trick question, but it's good just to kind of see who's awake and they've not just put it on and left the room, but also just to give me an idea that we're doing the right thing. So this is going to go into the chat now, if you can, because this is less of a poll. So your top acne client mistakes, what do you think they are? So what are the main I knew I'd written this and I can't even say it. Faux pas that our clients will make when it comes to acne. So they start to break out in spots. So we've seen it recently with the likes of Maskne. What did they then start to do? What did they start doing? So talk to me, tell me in the chat. Let's have a little look. I'll see as these come through and I'll spurt them off. Okay, perfect. So we've got 8. Oh yeah, so they don't use a hydrator, they over exfoliate, they strip the skin, they over exfoliate using severe cleansers. Over exfoliation, over exfoliation, over exfoliate, picking, harsh exfoliating to pick it, scrub their skin, use soap and water, absolutely astringents. They stop hydrating their skin, they pick, yeah, cleansing more, they strip, exactly. So what people tend to do, wrong makeup, thank you, Carla, that's a good one as well. Applying all types of products, Kashi, yes, 100%. Pore cleansing, not double cleansing. So the biggest one for me that I have found recently is they've had a few months at home and they've just picked up so many different things online and products. Same as you've said there, Kashi, that's a really good one, because that's something that's coming more and more through the door. And that's that sheer desperation that's kind of kicked in. And they're like, oh my God, what can I use on my skin? So they'll just accumulate so many. And then when they show me on the virtual consultation, I'm like, wow, okay, I get you've invested quite a lot of time and money on this, but let's just put them to one side right now. And they just become quite obsessive with the cleaning. So that's really important for us to note, and make sure that we kind of note that sort of behavior. And if it is going to have an impact on the results that we potentially, recommend for the client. So yeah, there's a few that I've put on here. So we've got excessive makeup, so mineral makeup. Again, these are recommendations I'll make towards the end. There is a great makeup range on Shop Beautiful as well. There's quite a few different makeup ranges that you can think about recommending when you know the ingredients a little bit later on. Over exfoliation, these horrible pads as well. I'm not a fan of these. Soap and water, somebody said. What else have we got? Baby wipes, face wipes and things like that. Squeezing and picking. And I've put makeup brushes on there because imagine if they're not cleaning those makeup brushes. So makeup brushes should be cleaned once a day after every use, okay, because you're just going to get that build up, that accumulation of bacteria as well. Same as goes for the sponges. And again, we'll come on to all of these sort of recommendations at the end. So I have another poll for you guys. I told you that I would be testing you this evening. Which one is it? Okay, so I want to ask you if you think acne is preventable. All right. So do you think acne is preventable? Really interesting. Just wait for those to come through. Okay, that's great. Really interesting result there. So the fact of the matter is, if you look for papers to evidence the fact that acne is preventable, it isn't. Okay, so there's certain susceptibilities to acne, there's certain reasons that it will occur. At one point or another in your lifetime, you will potentially get acneic spots and acneic skin. Obviously, some people are more susceptible to this than others. But those of you that have said yes, I partially agree with you, and you'll see why on the next slide. So yeah, that's a really good one. Those of you that said don't know, that's great. You will do by the end of this. So in answer, medically, then, we don't have the evidence behind saying, yes, it is completely preventable. As we know with susceptibilities, there's an awful lot more to it. So that was a bit of a political question there. So I thought I'd throw that one in. In short, no. So this is again my answer to it. I put it on here for us. But we can have optimum provisions in place to help manage these manifestations. And what we can do is prevent further lipid barrier damage. We can prevent this bacteria formation within the dermis, and also obviously control the amount of bacteria, help to eliminate, reduce and potentially eliminate the amounts of bacteria. But somebody that is more susceptible to that bacteria, it's never going to go away. That's what removes that whole preventative factor in there. What we can do is encourage good skin cell turnover and the removal of these dead skin cells promptly, get rid of them soon before it builds up and we start to get that accumulation. We can encourage regular controlled sebum production. So we can do that with certain ingredients, which we're going to come on to. And we can control and maintain the skin's pH. So pH is so important. And I had a bit of a moment earlier, and you'll see it on one of these slides. I'm not going to go into it too much, but it was pH is just so important. Around the skin. I'm not going to go on anymore. I'm going to give the answer to the next bit. To reduce pore size as well. So pore size is important. If we have an area of the skin that is open, you're going to have dehydration and over evaporation in that area. So what that means is that live part of the dermis, remember the spinning skin, that bit in the middle, it contains moisture. So what happens when the skin starts to become dehydrated because of poor lipid barrier, so lack of oil, and or the pores being too large, will start to lose some of that moisture. So that's what we call transepidermal water loss. So it's water loss that's moving out of the epidermis. See where that goes? And also that, having these pore sizes and reducing them will prevent the amount of water coming out, moisture coming out, and also help us regulate the amount of sebum that we're producing as well. So again, if we ask that question again, I'm not going to, because I think I've done your head in with polls already this evening. What is acne preventable? In my opinion, there's an awful lot, as you can see just there, what we can actually do to help make a difference. And it's so good if we can get in there in the early stages as well and just get them into really good skin regimen at an early age. It makes all the difference. My daughter is 11. She's a bit of a nightmare for doing these things. It's like brushing their teeth, but she does do it. We've created a habit out of it, and we only have to do something for a couple of weeks for it to become a habit. So that's where things can come in, and we can really help our clients and their family to actually understand and acknowledge the fact that taking good care of it and preventative factors are in play. So we're going to move on to the pH one. Don't worry if you don't know this. I've thrown loads of answers in to try and throw some people, because I know a lot of the people that might be registered will already know this. So the pH of the skin. So pH of the skin is important when we're talking about any skin condition and even any treatment or even any product that we're using on the skin as well. So it's really important that we recognise and understand that. If you get this wrong this evening, it doesn't matter. That's what you're here for. That's what you are here for this evening. You're here to learn and adapt a little bit more and understand what it is that we're doing and why. Okay. So I'll just wait for a few more answers to come in. Not everybody's voted. I think there might be a few people that are doing it in the chat. So I'll just double check. Okay. Okay, yeah, that's fine. All right, okay, let's just share that then. So yes, the pH of the skin is around about 4.75 to 5.75. So the majority of you got that right. Those of you who got it wrong, don't worry, okay? So 6 to 7%, interestingly enough, and you'll see this in the next slide, acneic skin. So people with acne tend to have a higher pH. All right, this is something that I read about just earlier today that I was getting quite excited about, that I was telling you earlier. That's how geeky I am. pH of a 7 and 7.5. I see why you might have said that, because that sits with water, so it's obviously a pH that you kind of have in your mind for whatever reason. But yeah, we have skin that sits at around about 4.5 to 5.5. So when we're recommending products, and obviously in particular acidic products or acidic treatments, then what you can imagine is that we're bringing that pH right down. What bacteria needs to survive ultimately is that more alkaline pH. So that is why we tend to see more acne with that higher pH. So I thought that was quite an interesting little find today, and I shared it with you. So acne grows well in an environment with a pH range of 6 to 6.5. But when it drops to 5.5, which is pretty much where it should be, the growth of it will noticeably decrease. So that should be one of our main goals, right? You know, we don't actively pH test the skin, but you can tell, or hopefully, you know, that you've got a good idea around how the pH is from just looking and talking to the client about their skin. There is a blog on the Shop Beautiful website that I placed on there a couple of days ago, what the guys did, that I wrote about the pH and how that is important and the sort of warning signs to look out for. So do take a look at that. And it's kind of like a jigsaw. I'm doing these webinars, these blogs, and all these things just to kind of sit these things together. So you're understanding why these products are so good, why these products are available, and the ingredients in them are going to work for your client and their skin. Okay. So understanding the pH is important. It's like back to GCSE biology. Can you remember? I was rubbish at the science at school because I just thought, I'm not going to need this again. And then it all rears its ugly head again. But when you're passionate about it, it's not a bind anymore, is it? It's kind of like, oh, I want to know more. Well, again, that's the skin geek in me. So types of pimples. We've got healthy skin. So we're back to that dynamic flat diagram, but you can see what I'm talking about. Now you've seen it rotating and doing it that way. Hopefully it helps a little bit more. So we've got healthy skin. Let me just make sure I'm not sharing the poll because it gets in your way. No, that's fine. We've got whitehead. So remember this oily sebaceous gland that we talked about here, okay, attached to the side of this hair follicle. All right. So this is what produces that oil. That actually, you know, we need some of it there to protect this top layer of the skin. But as you can see, when we start to have the inflammatory process and these bacteria that are around and relevant, we start to see an overproduction of this oil. All right. So that is why people with acne, one of their primary concerns and their primary complaints is that my skin is so oily. And that is why they then go through the faux pas of over scrubbing, over exfoliate, and, you know, and it's that whole vicious circle. So education is huge, you know. Even just today, I had a client of mine, she's been on a skin kit. I told her exactly what to do to the latter. And she's messaged today saying it's just not getting any better. So I literally dissected it again. So tell me what you are doing. She was missing out one huge step, and that was her SPF because she's not going outside. So she's thinking, okay, I don't need to go, you know, I'm just sitting in the house. So all that central heating, all that sitting indoors, might nip outside to do the animals and come back in, it's having that detrimental impact on their skin and this plan that we've put together. So it's always about really digging in there and working out what it is that they might be missing. And as you can see, so we have that buildup of bacteria, that inflammatory response kicks in, you have your papules and you have your pustules. And obviously some of these can be really debilitating and really painful and sore, especially when we've got an advanced inflammatory response as well, okay? So just some pictures here. We know all too well what these look like. So somebody mentioned in the chat about hormonal breakouts. I completely agree with you in terms of, is acne preventable? Well, no, it isn't. We can't control what's going on intrinsically. If someone is making poor lifestyle choices, that does, you know, there's increasing evidence around that being a fact, but no one will commit to it. But we know there are things out there that make inflammation worse. And if somebody is an avid, you know, they have avid consumption and they're eating a lot and drinking a lot of these things that make things worse, we tend to see it worse. But things that we can't control are hormones. In particular, some of my clients' skin has worsened over the last few months because of stress. And we know the effects of cortisol on the skin. If we don't, that's going to be another webinar, so don't worry. But the stress will impact the skin. So that will impact and, you know, and can potentially exacerbate acne. So those things, you know, well, we can prevent them. It's a harder thing to prevent, but again, it's that argument that comes in, isn't it, about whether it is preventable or not. For me, it's thinking about the bacteria that in some people they are more susceptible to it, and that's basic science. That is immunology. That is basically, you know, going back to that really. But as you can see here, we've got the blackheads, large pores, those hormonal breakouts along the jawline. You've got the nodular cystic, so that's like your papules that are really underneath and really angry and inflamed. We've got our pustules and we have our papules as well. Okay, so the other thing to consider is, I've not got it on this slide, but post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. So you can see a little bit of it here. Sometimes it might be purple in colour. So how and why that occurs, sometimes referred to as PIH, post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. So that can occur because of damage within the dermis, okay? So if we think back to that rotating skin, I told you I put it on there for a reason, and that live part that just connects the dead part of the skin, you've got a layer of melanocytes that produce melanin. And if you imagine this spot, this horrible papule has just pushed its way through and really agitated the melanocyte that produces the melanin, then that's why we get pigmentation and post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. So the skin in that area has been inflamed, it's been angry, it's been upset. The melanocyte has been inflamed, it's been angered, and it's upset. So that's why we have post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. And it's basically trapped pigment within the skin. So we can help get rid of it. When we think about treatments that are going to, treatments and products that are going to help improve that skin cell turnover, we can help with post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. So what is acne? Acne is a very common skin condition identified by the presence of comedones, blackheads and whiteheads, or pus-filled spots, which are namely pustules. Usually starts during puberty, but you know, age ranges can differ somewhat. I see quite a lot of adult acne cases. In particular, I've seen a lot more recently, and that's those other predisposing factors that we've just been talking about in terms of stress and obviously lifestyle that's going on at the moment. And obviously the masks not helping. For most, it tends to go away by the early mid-20s, but it can go on for a lot longer, and it can develop later, as we've just said. So, you know, they might have been absolutely brilliant with their skin when they were younger, and then all of a sudden it starts now, okay? That was just taken off our website. So this is where I just want to dissect the skin that a little bit more. I'm sorry about the quality of these images. I've just highlighted them a little bit. So if we have this oily sebaceous gland, this is where the sebum is created. Okay, so this is a bit of a snapshot of this area. So you can see the sebum that's being created and then secreted up and out onto the skin. So it's there to provide part of what the skin does, and that's that protective barrier. So that lipid barrier that we produce is there to make it moisture retentive. So that's what makes it waterproof. What makes it less permeable, so less bacteria can get through. So it is a protection. It's a defense mechanism. So when people are over scrubbing their skin and really scrubbing the sebum off, the body goes into panic mode and starts to create more. So it's kind of catch-22 situation. So they scrub it, it creates more, we get more spots. They scrub it some more, it creates more, they get more spots. And it's never going to go away. So it is about education a lot of the time with these clients, as we know. And you kind of hit the nail on the head when I put that question out there, which is good, okay? What we know about the bacteria is it loves this oily, thriving environment. It loves what we call is anaerobic. So it doesn't like oxygen. It likes to be in there with all the gloop and the dew, and it doesn't like to be on the surface. So when it's in there, it's warm, it's wet, it's dark, and there's lots and lots of food and nutrients being created from this sebum. That bacteria is going to do what? It's going to multiply. It's going to have a party. And that is exactly what happens with those clients, unfortunately, with acne. And when we've got a buildup of bacteria, our body goes into that, kickstart response. It starts to create inflammation. We start to create our macrophages, our white blood cells. Everything starts to kick in. So that is why we start to have that advanced inflammatory response. So let's see who's really clever in the room, because do you know what, when I think about this, I'm like, this is cruel, Annette, because I probably couldn't I know the name of it, but a short-term name of it, and to put it in this context, it's a bit mean. But I'm going to ask you, what is the name of the bacteria that's linked to acne? I know it's changed names a couple of times, but it's still this, but it used to begin with a C. But tell me, what is the name of the bacteria linked to acne? Let's see where we're at. Ooh, votes are out. Some of you have taken my bait for the incorrect answers. No, we're not doing bad though, but don't worry if you get this wrong. I've been very cruel with this. It's not nice. Excellent. Just wait for a few more seconds. The majority of you are right, which is good. Okay. Fab. Some random ones coming at the end, having a little guess, but that's good. That's what we're here for this evening. So 61% of you got that right, I'll be pleased to say. Those of you that got it wrong, it doesn't matter. I was a bit of a tease really, because I just threw in some names, colony, bacteria, we're thinking about bacteria, porbi, pilobacteria, you know, I was just being a bit mean, to be honest, but that is the name of the bacteria. And it's often referred to as P. acne. So P. acne bacteria, I say that all the time instead of this. I'm not even going to try and say that this evening. So P. acne bacteria, it's gram-positive and it prefers an anaerobic growth condition. We've just been talking about it. It likes it warm, dark, wet, out of sight, no oxygen. And that's what helps this bacteria just multiply itself. Okay, so if we are then feeding it by scrubbing the skin, and then the skin starts to produce more oil, we're then producing more of an environment for it, okay? If we're not looking after the skin, it's not hydrated, it can't remove any toxins away, we are literally just creating that environment for it as well. So let's just throw it out there. What, at the minute, what do you feel we need to look for in acne ingredients? So this is where you just pop it in the chat for me. And tell me the sort of things that you are looking for when it comes to acne ingredients. Let's just see some of the buzzwords that come up. Oh, really interesting one there. Zinc, I like that. Vitamin C, salicylic acid, anti-inflammatory, yeah, absolutely. Acid, I can't believe zinc was the first one that came up. I love a bit of zinc. Vitamin B, vitamin A, retinols, salicylic glycolic, niacinamide, Vit C, yep, brilliant, okay, perfect. Some really good good names being thrown in there. Something calming, yeah, absolutely. So anti-inflammatory, yeah, Linda, well done. That's good. Excellent. Okay, so let's have a little look. Key acne ingredients. So for me, we're looking for something that is oil soluble. So if we have this bulk of oil that's being overproduced because we're in this vicious cycle, we've got to have and find something that's going to work its way through that oil. It's no use having just a product that is going to, the first bit of oil that it hits, it bounces straight off it. So we've got to find something out there that's potentially oil soluble. And some of those words that you said are, we're going to come on to that in a minute. It's got to be barrier replacing. So we know that this lipid barrier, this protective barrier is breached because of, obviously, we've got breaks in the skin. We've got over scrubbing of the skin potentially as well. So this lipid barrier that should be kind of one sheet is not anymore. So we've got to find something that's going to replace that as well. We obviously need something bacteriostatic, something that's going to help eliminate and, well, reduce, if not, hopefully, potentially eliminate this bacteria. So we're looking at something that's bacteriostatic. It's going to stop that bacteria from reproducing. We're looking for something that's anti-inflammatory. We're also looking for something that's going to encourage skin cell renewal. So we're looking for new skin cells to come through and removal of old dead skin cells that A, might hold that post-inflammatory horrible hyperpigmentation, and B, be trapping dead skin and sebum together, which is another breeding ground for that bacteria as well. And we also need something not only to get through the sebum and the oil, but to actually regulate it. So something that's going to say, whoa, easy, tiger, stop producing that much. See, we don't need that. We've sorted this problem out now, Annette. We don't need that anymore. So just pack it in. And then hopefully it will re-regulate the sebum process. So we're not having that overproduction and that buildup of bacteria and that resulting inflammation and that lack of lipid barrier. So do you see where I'm going with it? It all kind of rolls into one. So acne.org is a great resource for you to go onto and have a little look, and your clients as well. But the first thing we're going to cover, and some of these names did come up in that chat, I just saw them, and that is alpha hydroxy acid, so AHAs. These are topically applied acids that treat a variety of skin conditions to include acne. And we know this hopefully already. If not, then listen up. They work by exfoliating the top layer of the skin. So they help to remove the top layer of the skin. They decrease the amount of skin oil production. So they're going to regulate sebum production. They help reduce bacteria. So the bacteriostatic, and they help decrease hyperpigmentation. So that post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, those purple patches that we see on acne sufferers all too often. It's going to promote penetration of other acne medications. So if, if there's other products that we're putting on the skin, not so much medications, but topical products, if they have something with an AHA alongside, then potentially it's going to help that penetration get into that live part of the dermis that I've talked about. And obviously some AHAs, as well, as we know, they are naturally going to help reduce the signs of aging as well. Higher concentration AHAs we tend to find in professional peeling products. So that's where you'd be thinking about your chemical peels and stuff. But we're thinking about home care now, and the availability and the amount of things that are out there. I just want to kind of take a deeper look at the ingredients and what's involved. So glycolic acid, personally one of my favorites, not so much to go to for acne, but I choose glycolic more often than not if their primary concern is pigmentation. And again, I'm not here because I know everything. This is just what I have found with my clients. So glycolic I love for pigmentation. But that said, you may have had some fantastic results with glycolic peels. I'm not questioning that for a second. All right. But a little bit about glycolic. It's derived from sugarcane. It's one of the smallest molecular weights. That means it's going to travel down further. So back to basic GCSE biology, high to low ratio, smaller molecular weight, meaning it's going to get deeper underneath the dermis. It's going to penetrate the skin easily. Okay. Various indications such as acne, it's great for scarring, good for melasma and that post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. I also find it really effective for skin aging as well, because of the size of the molecule. And as we know, skin aging, sometimes the damage has been done a little bit deeper down. So we need something that's going to go down and do what we need it to do. It's bacteriostatic, and it's going to help with hyperpigmentation too. So post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation. So lactic acid, that lactic acid is one of the larger molecules that you'll find out there. So it's a bit of a gentle appeal. It's derived from fermented milk. It was Cleopatra that first found lactic acid to make her skin feel nice and soft, and that enzyme process that she felt from it. And that's back in the Egyptian days. There was pictures of her in a bath of milk, and obviously she'd found the merits to lactic acid quite early. Lactic acid is antibacterial. It is also anti-inflammatory as well. So it's going to aid hyperpigmentation. Again, post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation and pigmentation is a whole new webinar in itself. We could go on about that all night, but it's important that we recognise that this can occur when we are dealing with acne clients as well. So we have mandelic acid, that's derived from bitter almonds. That is antibacterial and it is going to aid hyperpigmentation as well. So these are all buzzwords when you're looking at, your Shop Beautiful account, you're looking at products and you're thinking, what is the best thing? This is what I want you to take from this. So you have a good understanding of these products that you have there as well. You got your tartaric and your ascorbic acid, aka vitamin C. These are derived from fermented grapes and or citric fruits, and they are antioxidants. So hopefully you all know what an antioxidant is, but just in case you don't, I'm going to remind you anyway. So an antioxidant is what is going to remove the free radicals from underneath the skin. In English, when the skin cell is damaged from whatever form it may be, it could be an external aggressor or an internal aggressor. So something we've just been talking about, something we can't help happening, something we can actually potentially prevent happening. But either way, that skin cell's become damaged. So it's not firing on all cylinders. It's not doing what it should do. So because it's missing something, it goes round trying to pinch that thing off other cells. So that's why it's free and it's radical. It's gone crazy. It's going off to do its own thing. The problem you have is when it pinches something off another cell, that cell then becomes a free radical. So they then carry on doing that. And that's why you have that influx of free radicals that we need to eliminate. And the way we do that is with our antioxidants. So a free radical is formed because of oxidative stress. Okay, so it's something that's happened underneath the skin, and what the free radical will do is go on to damage. So an antioxidant will come along and sweep it up and take it away. So then all that we are left with is the good functioning cells. So we're not reproducing things that aren't functioning properly. So that's why ingredients like ascorbic acid, tartaric acid, and there's other antioxidants that are out there as well. But in relation to acne, these are two of my big go-tos, and somebody mentioned vitamin C. I can remember reading that as well. So beta hydroxy acid, aka BHA. So beta hydroxy acids are acids that are topically applied to treat a variety of skin conditions, to include acne. And again, like AHA, they work by exfoliating the skin. They help reduce inflammation. They decrease the skin oil production, so they'll regulate sebum. They reduce bacteria, so the bacteriostatic. They help with hyperpigmentation, and they will help promote the penetration of other products as well. The main difference from a BHA to an AHA is the BHA works from the top down. Okay, so it works from the top right down into the bottom, whereas the AHA will work the other way around. And that's the primary difference between the two. So salicylic acid is derived from white willow bark, and it's anti-inflammatory and antibacterial. So salicylic acid is an amazing little tool in terms of acne. When I'm working with both professional products and thinking about home care products, this is something that I try and bring in to their regime if we have that inflammatory acne, that really, the oily sebaceous acne, and lots of pustules and papules that are going on. My go-to would be salicylic. Anybody with an aspirin allergy would need to be wary of any salicylic products. Usually anything that we apply topically and not a professional treatment contains a very, very small amount, but it's still worth, just maybe finding something else to suit them. If that is the case, it's just not worth it. So tropic acid, not one that we see too often anymore, primarily for anti-aging, that's synthetically derived. And then we have our citric malic acids, and these are classed as AHAs. Remember what that was, the alpha hydroxy acid, and BHAs. So these are classed as both, so they do both jobs. Derived from citrus and or apples, as is malic, antioxidant, and they're great for anti-aging as well. Somebody mentioned this, and this is retinol or retinoids. These are great because they will help encourage skin cell turnover. From experience, these should only be used on healthy, well-practiced skin. You may disagree with me, but what I tend to find is this is what I go to at the end of a journey with an acne client. Personally, this is how I found it to work well. So we've got, on top of all the other fundamentals, we've got the skin, we've got their oil production down to a T. We've helped reduce the amount of bacteria, replace that lipid barrier. We've got everything functioning as it should, and we're seeing less and less breakouts. The main concern then might be the fact that they've got this post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, this scarring, and the condition of the skin. So it may be quite pitted, and they may want to, to help smooth out the skin from these areas where they've had these acne breakouts. And again, pore size, which we know contributes to acne. So it's then at that point, I'd think about bringing something like a retinol in. But again, that this is a whole new webinar, a whole new subject for us to think about, but it's one that we should have in our head when we're thinking about products that we might be recommending from the Shop Beautiful website. Definite absolute must is, I'm just doing a time check, is SPF Repair Daily. I can't believe I've been talking like 50 minutes, so it goes so fast for me, like literally I'm just such a geek. I love it. I could talk about this all day. So SPF Repair Daily, an absolute must. Okay, so again, if you look at the blog afterwards, you'll see I am going to link you to certain products to think about, but I don't want to make this product heavy this evening. That'll come from the blog, and you can take that from the website as well, which will be updated soon. But SPF is so important. Like that lady I had today, she'd not been wearing it because she's inside, but that reparative that we gain from certain SPFs with the little hidden ingredients in there, like somebody mentioned that I love, which is zinc, then you are going to get fantastic results with that, because it helps replace and replenish the skin. It's anti-inflammatory as well. So not only are we protecting the skin with our SPF, but we're also applying something on there that is just going to help keep everything functioning as it should. You can also consider trying tinted SPFs to help them avoid makeup application and that makeup that's just going to make things worse. And that's the problem with our acne sufferers. Sometimes they will obviously apply something on for cover up, and it's just adding and contributing to the issue. Look for ones with reparative factors. This will be in the blog for you, and obviously it will help aid this lipid barrier defense. Okay, so we need to stop things from getting in and stop losing moisture from out. Okay, so if we've not got the hydration underneath the skin, we've not got those means of free radical removals, those things that getting stuff out that's causing a problem for us as well. So again, we're not brand specific, but home care, naturally, we should know this already. We recommend a cleanser. You should now have some buzzwords in your head and the sort of ingredients that you'll be thinking about if you've got any acne sufferers. We should think about a pH balancer, aka a toner. So those people that throw toners in the bin and think they're pretty pointless, I would disagree with you, because we know the pH of the skin is affected by just soap and water. We know that there are good cleansers out there that hold and withhold a good pH, but we're still putting water on the skin. So how are we going to bring it back from water, which is about 7.5, to skin, which is 4.5 to 5.5 ish? The pH of soap alone, so somebody posted earlier today that they were using soap and water on the skin. The pH of soap can be as high as 8 and 9. That's like bleach. So that is going to have a detrimental impact on anybody's skin. Interestingly enough, when you start anybody on a new regimen, so you'll order them their products from Shop Beautiful, and you'll send them all, and you'll be really excited about the results. They'll be like, oh my God, I had to stop using it, or it just got so much worse. Okay. We all know, well, hopefully, if you don't, you do now, there is a risk of this, because they are going to have a purge. So it's basically all the rubbish coming out of their skin. Not only that, is obviously we've got that influx of antioxidants, all these products that we've put on that's going to help. We've also readjusted the pH. So if they've always used soap and water, and then we've given them a load of products and they start using them and they have a bit of a reaction to it, the skin's pH might have actually accepted that it's happily sat at 7.5. Okay, and as we've learned with acne, those at 6.5, 7, that is where their skin sits. Then we start to bring it back to where it needs to be to function properly. They have a reaction. So arming our clients for a purge and a reaction with products and new creams. Obviously, we need to be careful and making sure it's nothing untoward, nothing allergic. We know the signs of this, hopefully. But ordinarily, those little breakouts that they might get, those areas of patchy dryness, that is something that we will just need to work through and help them with, and just tweak the regimen accordingly. Okay. Weekly masks are amazing. So I talked about the NutriCross mask the other night. I don't know if you caught it last night. They are fantastic. I would recommend them for acne sufferers as well. They're deeply hydrating. And again, I'll be linking the blog tomorrow to lots of other things for you to be thinking about and considerations as well. A big one that we're all perhaps don't talk about enough with our clients is hygiene considerations. There's no grounded evidence behind the fact that somebody who doesn't clean their skin doesn't tend to have more acne. But what we do know is there are things that we can put in place, like we learned at the beginning. Is acne preventable? Well, it's not, but there are certain things that we can put in there to help remove the severity of it if possible. So we're going to come on to those in a minute. Lifestyle choices, intrinsic measures, diet and supplements. We need to be careful. We're not nutritionists, okay? But we can help guide our clients for the things to think about. So somebody mentioned zinc already, which is amazing. I don't know if you caught the protocol webinar the other night. I think there's another one on this week, actually. If you check out on the Shop Beautiful website, they're talking about supplements, I think tomorrow or Thursday. The lovely Rebecca is. So just arm yourself with a bit of knowledge around that, so at least you can guide your clients. We need to be careful. We're not nutritionists, and obviously if there's anything you really don't know and it's out your remit, you then talk to someone who does know. But we can be aware of this and help them in ways that we can, and that's definitely something you need to consider yourself for. So hygiene considerations then, what considerations do you think of to help you control the amount of bacteria present for your client? So what would you be recommending now if you had an acne client that came in, other than products? What would you be saying to them about home and what they're doing at home? Let's see who's still awake. Pillowcase, yep, 100%. Well done, Rosanna. So changing that often, every day I'd say. No soap, yeah. That's a good one. Wash hands before they cleanse the skin. Clean pillowcases and makeup brushes, clean towels, don't touch or pick. Clean their mobile phones. Oh, I didn't write that one in. That's a good one, really good one. Yes, don't forget to clean your mobile phone. Clean flannel each cleanse. Drying skin on clean paper towel tissue, not a towel. Yeah, phones are completely, yeah, that's a good one. Fab. So there's a few coming through. Fantastic. Good stuff. Diet, yeah, well done. Fantastic. Right, okay, so these are the sort of things that I will tell my clients, and I don't pretend I'm a robot. This is just the image that I found. As I said, I was tweaking this 5 or 10 minutes before I came on, and I just threw this image on there. Hygiene help with acne. We do not pick. We tell them not to pick as much as they want to, okay? Wash the hair frequently as well. So, and be careful what they're washing it with. So I've had some clients that we'd tackled most things, but we're still getting hairline spots. Now there is a form of spot that you can get, which is like a fungal manifestation. So it is important to make sure you're armed with all of this knowledge, because sometimes it could be that. But I suggested she stopped using paraben shampoo, and straight away it stopped. So that was obviously, it wasn't agreeing with her skin. 60-degree towels. So those of you who mentioned new towels every time, yeah, just get some of the white flannels from Walco, whatever, or wherever they're from, and that they need to be washing them at 60 degrees every single day, not using the towel that's been in the bathroom. Pillowcase being washed, try silk pillowcases as well, they're quite popular now. You know, washing at 60 degrees and having their own towel specifically cleaned every day. Bed linen the same, at least the pillowcase. Good skin regimen and SPF daily, so important. We've got to get that SPF right though. We've got to make sure they're happy with what they're putting on their skin, because compliance is key. It's okay giving them all this stuff, but if they don't like how it feels, or we've not explored that with them, they're not going to use it. So that's really important as well. Avoid pets licking faces, so important. Choose mineral makeup. There's loads of makeup on the Shop Beautiful website. I'm actually blown away with how much there is out there. So have a little look at that. If you've got a client that's adamant they want this coverage, there is makeup available for them on there as well. Clean the makeup brushes every day. There is a tool that I sell to my clients, and it's a makeup brush cleanser. It's called the Style Pro. Game changer. Cleans, washes, brushes, and dries the brush in seconds. Amazing for any acne sufferer or anybody, you know, to potentially prevent these breakouts as well. Do not over exfoliate. You've said this already. And obviously in this climate at the moment, moving forward, we're changing masks regularly. If it is a reusable one, they're washing it at 60 degrees. Just like with the pillowcases and everything else. Okay, so there's just a few little things. This is all content, guys. This is all stuff that you can share with your clients. They might not think you can help them. And little, you know, if you're worrying about, you don't know what to post about at the minute, I don't know what can I talk to about my clients? I've not got any befores and afters. You don't need them. You use this time to do all these little things that we should do, that we kind of forget because everything's just crazy when you're back at work. So you use this time for education. So important. Professional considerations. Personally, my go-tos for acne will be chemical peels with some of those ingredients that we've chatted about. And again, you can have a little look through the Shop Beautiful website and see the ones that are available. Microneedling, a game changer for scarring and to help with hydration. So what we know about acneic skin is it is actually dehydrated. Okay, we've got that break in the skin, we're losing that moisture from the skin. Remember, transepidermal water loss, the moisture is coming out of the skin. So we've got to help replenish that moisture once we've got on top of other things. And light therapy, that's something, you know, it's not something I use routinely. You know, I've had clients that have asked me, they've ordered these things online, bit of a gimmick, but there is increasing evidence behind light therapy and acne as well. So just make yourself familiar with that. It might be something you want to consider offering. So what can you do now to correct? I've just chatted about this already in terms of content. Free virtual skin consultation for your clients. If you're not doing that already, why not? You know, our doors are closed at the moment. It's a really easy setup. You get Zoom for free. You get 45 minutes free. There is no reason why you can't have a phone call, a conversation with your client, and help them with their skin. No, we can't touch, feel, we can't look, we can't analyze, but there is a hell of a lot you can do by asking a question. You can ask these questions to gauge. Now you've got a bit more of an understanding. We think about extrinsic, so what's going on outside. We think about intrinsic, what's going on inside. We think about lifestyle. Build yourself a bit of a questionnaire. This is what you can do with your time now. If you haven't got one already, tweak it so it's more comprehensive. So you've got everything to a T. Home care is important. This lady, that's all she's had. That is all she's had. I think we did one peel, but that was way before we'd even implemented the home care. And you can see the difference that it's had on her skin. You are going to get more compliance from your patients and clients from implementing home care at this time. While they can't have professional treatments, they have to see it to believe it. And once they start using it, they'll be, actually, yeah. They'll still come to you for professional treatments, obviously, but the difference that home care can make is unbelievable. Tutorials on how to understand their new products as well. You can all do that. Now you've got a little bit more knowledge behind them. And obviously there's always branded training out there. If you're unsure, you need to go to the brands of these products and ask them the questions too. But having good, good background knowledge, good solid background knowledge is important. Open your online shop if you haven't already. Okay, what are you messing about at? So all of these things that you can potentially do, you'd need to consult with the client individually first. That's where your virtual consultation comes in. So build a little bit of a digital journey for your clients while you're not there. Do exactly what you would be doing in your clinics, but on a virtual level. Like most businesses have had to adapt. You can all do exactly the same. It's just about increasing your knowledge with it. We're nearly there. So there is the blog that's going to come to the end of this as well with some more information on, and I'm really excited to be bringing lots more webinars your way, and more in particular about this last topic we've just been talking about, and that's business, and getting you to think about how, we've not just got a hoard of products and knowledge. How can I get these out to the right people? And that's so important in this industry as well, and making sure we understand, the fundamentals of marketing and stuff. Mineral sunscreen, mineral. See, this is what happens when you tweak things just before. Mineral sunscreen. If you're not already and you've not done the skin accreditation, just check them out. So this is me being an ambassador for skin. They have an online accreditation for skin cancer and melanoma detection. So while you're doing your virtual consultations, or while you're back in clinic eventually, or salons, your clients may come to you with something that looks a little bit untoward. So with this accreditation, you can help them with that. Understand if there is something more untoward going on. You're not diagnosing, you're just picking up on warning signs. So have a look at this accreditation. It's amazing, and it's 20 quid, an absolute godsend, and definitely worth doing. So thank you for listening. I do think there is just a couple of questions. I'm going to have a little look at those now. Will this be available to catch up on later? Gemma, I think they are going to be putting this on their YouTube channel. I will let you know on that. I don't know for sure, but I hope little one got off to bed okay. And yeah, hopefully it'll be on the YouTube channel for you to get a catch up. A copy of this presentation, I will need to ask the guys over at Shop Beautiful. As I've said, Kashi, there will be a blog that links us into this. And again, I think this is going to be on replay on the Shop Beautiful website for you. So you'll be able to kind of pause and keep going back and forth. Are there test strips to test pH? There is, Karen, I've seen them. So you could, it's a bit like the saliva ones that you can get. It's not, I get what you're saying. It is amazing to talk to the clients about it as well, but usually with pH, I can just, you will start to learn to tell from looking at the skin as well. But yeah, it is something that you can think. It's just about how reliable it is, you know, and if your clients would be up for that, but they are out there. Kay, what was the makeup brush cleaner called again? Look on my website, Kay, but it's called the Style Pro. You'll see it on there. It's literally a game changer. I saw it on Dragon's Den the first time and I was like, literally, oh my God, honestly, game changer. You'll love it. Also noticed more people with milia. Milia is a whole new webinar, Karen. Stop being greedy. So milia is a whole new webinar. So more people with milia. What I tend to find, they are using the wrong products. They're using something that is emollient rich. Sometimes, and when I get to the bones of it, they've been using iron lip cream all over their face. So we know iron lip cream is always a lot richer sometimes with certain brands, and milia is basically trapped oil and dead skin underneath the skin. So I tend to find it's with product usage. So we'd look at exploring that a little bit really and think about what products they're using. Obviously there is milia extractions that we can do once we are open, but chemical peeling and renewing skin cells and pushing those old skin cells off will help eliminate some of the milia, but not all of them. Sometimes we do need to extract. What would you suggest for someone who has nodular cystic acne? My friend who is 34 really suffers from it. If you want to drop me a message, Marie, they can obviously come and see me for a virtual skin consultation, or I can help you guide them with one. That might be a good idea. I'd need to see some pictures and learn a little bit more about them. But what we've learned this evening is the key ingredients. So we're looking at AHAs, BHAs, and obviously just those basic hygiene tips as well. Sometimes, obviously, if you know we know that we may need GP or dermatology intervention, but we can always try these things before. If they've had intervention and it's not worked, then we really need to help them. And you know, sometimes I've helped clients just before they're about to go for that GP or dermatological intervention and just say, let's give this a go, and it's worked. So I'm not saying we'll replace those people, but I'm saying there's things that we can try before we go to that. How long would you ask a client to persevere with a new regime if skin is getting worse first? That's a really good question, Carla. So remember a skin cycle is around about 28 days. So I would really ask them to give it a good month of doing it to the latter, but just be careful. If you give them a plan, like my lady today, I knew there was something she wasn't quite doing right. You know, I said, right, I was getting to the point where I said I was going to ask her to film what she's doing in the morning. And then when she said, oh, I've just been at home, so I've not been wearing my SPF repair balm and I've not bothered, I knew that that's what it would be. So I've now said to her, look, bring that in now every day, and let's see how your skin is in a week. So as long as you're conversing with them and keep on board with them and just look out for anything you know, that is untoward, sometimes can potentially happen, then you're okay. Just be there for them. That's what I would say, and through that purge and everything else as well. Karen says, sorry, that's fine, Karen, we'll do a milia webinar another time. But no, that's good. It's good that you've got all these questions. It's amazing that I can help you out with these as well. But with that in mind, I do want you to go over and explore the Shop Beautiful website so you can have a little look. Those key ingredients that we've chatted about tonight, if you type them in the search bar, you'll see what comes up. So you can explore the ranges and you can have a little look through them. You know, you can then, you know, there is training out there with the brands as well that you can maybe address if you feel that you want to know a little bit more. But key ingredients and knowledge behind things that are going on will stand you in good stead all the way. And the same goes for all skin types and conditions. And that's something that I want to help implement with Shop Beautiful. So you've got a really good understanding behind the products that they're selling and how it is that they're going to work. Okay. There's my contact details if anybody wants to get in touch with any questions that they were asking that I've not answered. Fantastic. Carla, if you want to drop me a message, you are more than welcome to. You can see my details on the screen there. I would love to hear from you, so do drop me a message. That would be great. Fantastic. And yeah, so thank you very much. That will close at that. I think I can smell my food cooking and I'm rather hungry. But I look forward to hearing from many of you. So do just get in touch if you've got any questions or concerns, and we can go from there. So yeah, I can just read through. Everyone wants a little bit of rosacea and stuff. Fantastic. Good. Excellent. I hope you've enjoyed yourselves, guys, and I hope you're not too frazzled this evening. Have a good week, and I look forward to seeing more of you really, really soon. Take care, guys. Bye.